First and foremost, I'd really like to thank everybody for being here tonight. I really appreciate you all coming out despite the weather. I know it's a little bit chilly tonight. Prior to getting started, I would like to ask that all residents please hold on to their questions until the very end of the meeting. We will be having a question and answer forum at the end of the presentation. At that point, you are more than welcome to ask any questions you may have. We do ask that questions be limited to 2 minutes. Louis, at this time, would you like to call the meeting to order?
We're going to call the meeting to order. It's now about 6:04, and the annual meeting is now in session.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. First and foremost, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Eunice Garibay, and I am the Lakeland Village Community Manager. Joining us tonight is Melissa Hargrove, Bridgeland General Manager, and Heidi Flores, Assistant General Manager for Bridgeland. We also have Mike Shepard, Landscape Manager here. For our board members, we have Louis Evans, President. We have Go Home, who is Secretary. Treasurer. Go Home Treasurer. JP Oldham, Secretary. And then we have E.T. Clark. He is our Vice President.
Don't give a cops.
Yes. And then we have Sergeant Duke and Corporal Guerrero. Corporal Guerrero. Or Corporal Izzy. Thank you. Sergeant Duke, would you like to present your report or
Sure.
come up here and speak to us?
For those of you who don't know, Sergeant Duke is actually over the Richmond contingent for Precinct 5. So he's on day shift now. He was on evenings for years.
Yeah.
But he's on days. What you see the smiles there, whether he's stopping you, pulling you over, or you just saying hi, he's always smiling.
Still right to think about it. So, I usually give some stats at these meetings, so I'm going to continue with that. We'll start off with, first of all, I'd like to introduce our new corporal. She's an evening shift supervisor. Corporal Izzy.
Yeah,
Or
it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Or you can say it the right way, Corporal Guerrero.
Yeah. So I'm out here in Bridgeland on evenings, so if you see me, please say hello. I'd be more happy to get to know more of y'all, not just on the traffic side.
And she's also a certified FTO, so a lot of the times when she's in here working, she has an extra deputy that rides with her, a new deputy, and she trains them, teaches them how to do the job. So we get some freebies sometimes with her.
I have one outside right now who's working on his report.
Yeah, he's doing the paperwork. So here in Bridgeland now, we have 24 of us that work in here. There's 23 deputies, 22 deputies, a corporal, and sergeant. So 24 total working in here. We're in here 24/7. We're available anytime that you're in need. The stats I have this year, I like to compare this year to the previous year. Gives you an idea of kind of where we stand, where we've been, where we're going. In 2025, so far this year, from January 1 to now, we've had 20,032 Bridgeland calls for service. That's calls that are dispatched to us or calls that we dispatch ourselves to. The previous year in 2024, we had 17,300. So we've increased officers. There's going to be more calls for service. Here's a good stat. The reports this year, we did 534 reports for criminal activity in the neighborhood. The previous year, we did 592. So even with the increase in houses and people, we've also increased deputies. So we've had less reports done in 2025 than 2024. So that shows that what we're doing is working, the boots on the ground and the technologies that we have out there is really helping a lot. This year we did 1,194 vacation watches. And I'll talk a little bit about vacation watches here in a minute because that's something that we really like to push people and have y'all do. The previous year we did 867. This year we did 625 alarms. Last year was 699. So that tells me that a lot of people have alarms and they don't have our number on the alarm system. We're not getting that call, or maybe it's not monitored. This year so far this year we've done 1,422 traffic stops here in Bridgeland. The previous year, 840 for the same time frame. I'd like to talk a little bit about our response times as well. And I'm not gonna beat up HCSO too much, but I'm gonna throw a little stats out there just so that you understand, the service that you're getting from us. In Bridgeland, a priority one, now these have gone up a little bit from previous year, just a little bit. We're at 8 minutes and 48 seconds because Bridgeland is getting to be a large neighborhood. It's a little hard to get around. But HCSO is 9 minutes and 11 seconds. Priority one call is the most important call. It's the ones we're running lights and sirens to. So a priority two call would be a call that we're gonna probably, get there as quick as we can. We might break the speed limit a little bit, but we're not gonna run with our lights and sirens. We're gonna stop at the stop signs. We're gonna stop at the stop lights. Our response time in here is 9 minutes and 34 seconds. And ACSO District 5, which is right out here, is 19 minutes and 29 seconds for a priority two. And then a priority three call, we got 8 minutes and 44 seconds. And the sheriff's office, 37 minutes and 8 seconds. I'm not really picking on the sheriff's office. They cover a large area. They really do have to go a long ways to their calls, and it takes them more time. HPD is even worse, a lot worse. So just a little something there. And I want to go about those response times. That includes you calling in, the dispatcher filling it out, and getting it in the system, and then sending it to us. And it includes it being transferred. If you call 911, getting transferred over to us. If you take it just from when it hits our mobile data terminal to when we get on scene on a priority one, is only 5 minutes and 51 seconds, which is pretty darn quick. That's a long time when you're in crisis, but we try to cut it down and get there as quick as we can. One other thing I'd like to mention, I always check this every year. There's a website called crimegrade.org, and I always check Bridgeland on it because it gives some good stats. And it's interesting. We have an A+, A+, rating with them. And Bridgeland is in the 98th percentile in the United States for safety. That means 2% of the neighborhoods are safer and 90% of the neighborhoods in the United States are more dangerous than Bridgeland. So Bridgeland is a very, very safe place to live. Let's talk about the vacation watches. Does everybody here know what a vacation watch is? I think most of you do. A lot of people take advantage of it. When you go out of town, weekend, a week, we have some people that leave for 3 or 4 months sometimes. We'll do a vacation watch. Corporal Guerrero, has done a really nice deal with our, vacation watch calendar. So we put it all on a calendar. It's color coded now for each section. The Lakeland section is color coded together. It makes it really easy for the deputies to see where they are and to be able to go and check the vacation watches. If it's in the daytime, we'll get out. We'll walk around the house. We'll check the back door. We'll check all the doors, the windows, make sure everything looks like it's squared away. And then we'll go on the next one or whatever else comes next. On the evening shift, if it's light outside, they'll do the same thing. But when it gets dark, I ask the evening shift and the night shift not to get out and walk around the houses just in case somebody comes home, because it's happened quite a few times where somebody's come home early and forgot to call us. So if you do put in a vacation watch and you decide to come back early, just give us a courtesy call and we'll take it right off the calendar.
I can add a little bit on that.
Sure,
So the
absolutely.
only reason for vacation watches that I really push on it whenever I meet somebody is, you're out of town. Let's say you get a delivery that you didn't even expect, or maybe you didn't realize, oh, something got delayed, and you have a delivery out in front of your house. Well, what does that do? That invites people to say, oh, that's been there for 2 days now. With the vacation watch, what that adds is that at least there's somebody that's going to go out to your house to make sure that everything's safe. And a lot of us, what we do is if we see a package, we try to hide it somewhere where it's not visible. I know not a lot of the deputies do it. I do it. The email that you provide, I will email you and say, hey, I saw a package. If you have somebody that can come by and pick it up, and if not, this is where I put it. Not every deputy does that, but we do at least try to make sure that if there's a package that's visible, we move it. Even the doors, we get those solicitors that they're leaving those cards in between your doors. We'll remove that and we'll hide it somewhere where, whenever you come back home, you're able to see it. The main thing about vacation watches is that we always try to push on this. We want to make sure your house is always safe, even when you're not there. And if we can do anything to help with that, that makes it 10 times better. So.
And we have found open front doors on vacation watches too. It has happened many times. We found open garage doors. We found open front doors. Called somebody, they're in Japan, didn't realize they thought it was locked, had one of those automatic doors that's supposed to lock itself and maybe it wasn't closed exactly right and it failed to lock. So it happens, and what we'll do in that situation is we'll go inside the house and we'll check it and make sure that it's secure and that everything looks like it's where it should be. And, then we'll call a homeowner if there's a number, or email them, whatever we have, and just contact them and let them know, hey, we locked your front door. So it happens. That's what we're there for.
And how to set that up?
Yes, all you have to do for a vacation watch is go to our website, and it's constablepct5.com, www.constablepct5.com. And there's a section in there for the vacation watches where you can fill it out.
Yeah, you'll scroll, as you just go into the first page and you'll scroll all the way down and there's a bunch of, special watches, silver watches, and vacation watches. So you'll click on that one.
Yeah. You can also call a deputy out to your house and they'll fill it out for you if that's easier for you. And some people don't like going on the computer. I don't really like doing that either, but, we'd be happy to do that for you as well. So, you can call it in if you've already left. It's happened a few times where somebody's called and asked for me and then, they get transferred to my telephone and they're like, I forgot to put in a vacation watch. Can you do it for me? I'm about to get on the airplane. Sure. We'll do it right then. Really easy. We'll get it knocked out for you, whatever it takes. There's a lot of really good information on the website too. You should check it out. So the alarms, one of the things you need to do if you have a monitored alarm on your house is call your alarm company and give them our dispatch number. That should be right there as well, 281-463-6666. Make sure they have that because if they don't, it'll route to the 911 system and then it'll route back to us whenever it verifies Bridgeland, and it just takes extra time. You just get a lot faster dispatch if it comes straight to us. So be sure you call your alarm companies and have it together. On our website, there are a lot of special things that we do. They're community-oriented things. There's a RAD class. There's a rape, aggression, and defense class for women. It's a really cool class. I'm not allowed to go in there. They don't allow me in there except for the men that are in the big red suits that the women get to beat up. But I hear it's a fantastic class. You can really learn how to protect yourself, how to defend and get away, and all their techniques. I don't know them because I'm not a RAD instructor, but they've held them out here before. Yeah. I think they've held them in here. They've held them over at the Orchid Room. They did one time. So if y'all are interested in that, all you gotta do is reach out to our community relations department on the website. And if there's enough people, they'll be happy to set up a class. They love doing that stuff. And the deputies that instruct it and teach that thing, they enjoy doing that too. So, there's also Citizens Police Academy. Has anybody in here been to the Citizens Police Academy? I know there's quite a few people here in Bridgeland who have done it. And, that one also is really highly, received by the people. You get to do all kinds of stuff. I think they do a driving course. They get to shoot a simulator where, you get put in police situations and it gives you a little better understanding of sometimes what we have to deal with, in doing our job. But apparently it's a really good class too.
You forgot to mention what the most fun part is. You get to drive with my lot.
Yeah, get to do the driving.
You get to sit next
Oh,
to
you mean the ride along?
Yeah, the ride
Yeah,
along.
they do a ride along right before graduation. So you get to ride with us for half a shift or maybe even a whole shift if you want to. Usually about a half a shift. And then you have a big graduation and a lot of pomp and circumstance. This is pretty cool. I've been to those. I'm in the color guard, in the honor guard with our department. So I get to do the flags at that. Kind of fun. That's about it. Um, can they ask questions of me? Okay. Well, if y'all like to ask some questions, I see Kate has one.
Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of reports on Facebook about the mailboxes is opened up.
Yes.
Can you tell me, have you been able to catch anybody, the cameras there? Because all of us are getting, I'm not gonna mail anything, I'm just that nervous about it.
I believe today, I sent something to BWA, and they put something out, that this is a flyer that I got from the US Postal Service when we had the problem before. And I think we have the same problem now. I think it's somebody that has a, counterfeit mailbox key, and they're going into it because mailboxes aren't being damaged.
Right.
So,
So
there are some tips on that, that not leave mail in your mailbox overnight. Be sure you empty it every day, don't let it sit.
My question is, what are you doing to catch the crook?
Well, we have a suspect vehicle and that's all we have right now, but we don't have a license plate on it yet. Last time we caught one in here last time, we caught a couple in here, but the last one we caught was on a scooter. He was riding an electric scooter with a backpack. He was riding around hitting mailboxes.
Is there anything potentially to figure a little GoPro cameras up and kind of focusing on some of those? I mean, I don't see any legal limit to the prohibited that.
Yeah, cameras can be put up in places. You get lucky. I mean, there's.
It's all luck, I
Yeah,
agree,
yeah,
but-
you have to get lucky with something like that. There's a lot of cameras on houses. That's how we got a white Jeep as a suspect vehicle on one. It was seen on a doorbell camera caught it. So,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get it.
Ours wouldn't catch it, we don't face it at all.
Right, a lot don't, but a lot do, and a lot of people have cameras that face their driveways, and, some of those hit mailboxes. It would be nice if people who live near them could maybe adjust the cameras just a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know, that we could maybe think about doing something like that.
It happens every year.
It does, and this is also the time of year where we're gonna have package thefts and things like that. Last year, we didn't get hit very hard with package thefts. We had a really good season last year for package thefts. I think part of it is that we got a lot of boots on the ground in here. But, it's a big neighborhood, so we can roll through pretty good. They'll follow the trucks in.
Yeah.
So. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Well, appreciate you both being here and all your efforts to protect our community. The statistics are really impressive. How do we compare Bridgeland to the rest of Houston? Are there other pockets that would beat us, or those statistics sound like we'd sort of be toward the top?
Well, there's certainly some very good neighborhoods in and around Houston, but I can't, I'm sure there's some, River Oaks, I'm sure has some really good stats. There's gonna be some really nice neighborhoods that have some really good stats as well. I haven't checked all the neighborhoods in Houston against Bridgeland. I just know that, as far as the United States goes, Bridgeland is way up there. So that's a good question. But I know there are good neighborhoods in Houston. They're patchy. There's little good neighborhoods with some bad around, and we suffer with some of that too. We have some areas that are a little south of us that are pretty rough, and they're not that far away. And some of the crime that gets imported here comes from that area. Because we caught some of them. We caught some of them at the basketball courts doing assaults and things like that. So. Everybody suffers with that a little bit. All the good neighborhoods, sometimes you have some of the neighbors around causing problems. Real quick before I ask another question, I know a couple of people have asked me, we've had some incidences recently that have been on Facebook, where we've said, there's large police presence around here, try to avoid the area. We appreciate those of y'all that actually do that. Not everybody does. But I want everybody to know that this is still a very safe neighborhood. We did have a suicide at one of our parks that we had a lot of deputies out looking for them. We found a note in a parked car. So, it took a long time to find them, but we did find them. And that was one of the reasons we asked for people to stay away. And then we had an area blocked off for the time Thursday. And then today we had another area to stay away from the Howard Hughes building. Were y'all there? Yeah, the sheriff's office had a carjacking that happened down on Morton and 99. And the car that they carjacked, the Corvette, was being tracked by the owner, and they tracked it to behind the HEB. And when the sheriff's office rolled up behind the HEB, there was the car, the white Corvette, and there was a black Challenger. They were there messing with the license plate. They're both stolen vehicles. And they took off running. The black Challenger wrecked out in the Bridgeland Creek Parkway. And then he got out, and the guy in the white Corvette hit him when he was trying to pick him up. He knocked him about 20 feet in the air. He jumped up, got in the car, and then they ran, and they ended up over in Bridge Creek, over near the new Walmart over there, where one of them got found by the K-9, where he was hiding in the pond. And then when I finally left about 4 o'clock, they were about to shut it down. They couldn't find another one.
I appreciate the update. I saw the Challenger, cross-eyed in the road. And then, of course, all the schools got locked down.
Right.
Which was pretty efficient.
Yes.
Yeah, it works good.
Yes. And then I know that a lot of people have asked me about the murder in here. I want everybody to know that, that is under investigation. That is not gonna fall through the cracks. You know, there's a young kid lost his life in here, in a stabbing after a party that didn't take place in here. It happened in Katy area. And then a group of them ended up here in Bridgeland, and that's where the assault happened. And, that is being fully investigated. I have on good authority, somebody told me just recently their records were subpoenaed. So still, it's not gonna fall through the cracks. I get a lot of calls, people worried that nothing is happening. Everything is happening, but it's happening at a very sure and steady pace because they have to make sure that they do it absolutely perfect so that they don't have a mistrial. So that's still being taken care of. Anybody else got any other questions?
I was gonna ask about that, but you just answered it for me.
Ain't you doing that?
The sheriff officers that are patrolling, is that kind of in coordination with you, or is that outside of?
We have some motor units that work in conjunction with the sheriff's department a lot of the times. And they'll come in here with our motor units. And they work in here sometimes too. But that's not real often. Usually just when our motors come in here. But sheriff's officers drive through here sometimes, and it's just like us. It doesn't matter where we are, you know, if somebody breaks the law in front of us, we're gonna light them up.
I did see them setting up, their little units and shooting the speed trap, but hey, I appreciate it.
Where'd you see them at?
Josie Ranch.
Okay, yeah, that's probably with our motors out there. Was it like a Camaro?
No, it's 2 motorcycles.
Okay, that's us. That's not sheriff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah, they come in here and help out. They come and work our school zones, especially at the beginning of the year. After the breaks, they'll come in because, you know, people get used to speeding through those school zones, and we want to be sure to slow everybody down when school starts up. So we do not want to get hit.
How are our parks being, because I know for a while they were starting to cheat spot, and for a while it was going to be pretty high, people walk through, but I don't know if we really have an Arkansas park, so like the Village Park, plus the White Meadow Park, the Festival Park. How are those being handled as far as actually patrolling?
Well, we have 2 UTVs that patrol the park part of it. So they can take those, they're 4-wheel drive, they can go anywhere, they go back on the bike trails, they can get anywhere out there within reason. They can't get everywhere where a bicycle can get, they can get their clothes. So we have 1 UTV that is just for, Lakeland, and then there's 1 UTV for Parkland.
And how many hours maybe the officer of trouble?
Well, he's here 8 hours 5 days a week, and he patrols in it half of his patrol for about 4 hours. And then 4 hours in the car. And that can vary sometimes with approval of the supervisor. You know, he can, if we get shorthanded or something, he can go back to the car, or if everybody's on call.
Oh, we have a crowd.
Yeah. And then anytime we have a big event, I assign him to go to the event, because he went to the Harvest Festival that was over here, he went over there to that, and, you know, I send him to everything. Anytime I find out there's something going on, I'll send him to it, even if it's in, he can go to it. And of course, we all patrol the parks as well.
Yeah, I know that, but I think a lot of people are really concerned about somebody really being there quickly, or just seeing types of riffraff they may not have, what's going on in the parking lot, cars being broken into, you know, physical presence or something like that.
Well, we haven't had a lot of cars being broken into in the parking lots.
Not before.
Yeah.
Not trying to work.
Now, the apartment's a different story. The apartment's driving crazy, but, you know, that's where most of our Airbnbs are now. We used to have a problem in the parks.
I
And
know.
then, you know, park cameras come, all that.
You just don't park it, does you like parks, I mean, that's a little worse than most now.
Yeah, Josie was a real problem for a while. Of course, we caught that one guy.
Yeah,
This
because
is,
but
fun.
do y'all patrol apartments as well, is that part of your job, is that,
It is, it's still a contract, so, you know, we'll roll through them.
is it a separate contract from the HOA?
No. No, it's a part of the prison.
And who pays for it?
I can't answer that question now. You gotta ask
I
somebody
know
else.
there's freaking council, you know,
You gotta ask somebody else.
I guess I never thought that we would be responsible with citizens paying our HOA fees, but we were responsible for the department.
Part of the district, okay, so,
What?
it's part of the district, so it'd be covered as part of the district cost.
What do you mean about the district?
The district, in this case, your, mud district, pays for the patrol service.
We can see what that's there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
if the complex is in a district, it's a part of their district, so they would cover patrolling in that district area.
And so before, when the council controlled those security contracts, they did the same.
Same thing.
Yeah, we've always taken care of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
we've always taken calls to them.
It's within the boundaries of that district.
They have the jurisdiction to do it, I'm just, we'll focus on that for.
If I may, one final quick question. Combustion motorized vehicles on the bike path. I've had a couple of instances where, you know, 3 or 4 teenagers are on dirt bikes or on the bike path. I'm assuming that's not permissible.
The bike path back,
This is in, like, literally you know, the pedestrian path.
oh, the sidewalks?
Yeah, the sidewalk,
Mm-hmm.
dirt bikes. I mean, I
It
don't,
shouldn't be, no, it
shouldn't be.
shouldn't be motorized vehicles.
no motorized vehicles.
It's a golf cart on a disc golf course, would be the only exception, technically.
Makes sense.
It's illegal to have a motorized vehicle on a sidewalk, but those are not technically a sidewalk. They're not right by the roadway, those are a trail, you know, a walkway. But,
Those are by us and Richmond Council, you're talking about this kind of, what I call a private, like house hall,
Right.
private sidewalk.
right,
And
yeah, I don't have jurisdiction on that, I can't write a ticket for that, but we can stop it if we can. Anyway, yeah,
Sergeant, then we would give authorization for them.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, so-
absolutely, because that's their private property.
Then we'll authorize them to do a trespass on them.
Yeah, I think they do that, the
Yeah.
police officers, so that that's fine, oh, they
They're
ever see
catching
a trouble.
Yeah, we've caught them quite a few times.
Yeah,
Even on electric motorcycles, you know, that were acting foolish around pedestrians, and we get the call and we deal with it, we stop them.
is an electric bicycle
Hmm.
considered a motorized vehicle?
No, it's just considered a bicycle. It does have some restrictions, some speed restrictions, but it's considered a bicycle.
How about electric, scooter, you
We
know?
would consider it motorized, I think.
I think that that needs to be clarified, because there's so many adults now that are driving those electric bikes, and I'm like, why are you exercising with an electric?
I agree.
But
It seems kind of silly.
I don't know how much we're really enforcing that electric bike, or really, it's not at all, probably.
What you're saying is there's 2 standards, one for the constable is different than the HOA standard when it comes to motorized vehicles and common areas.
A common area is not a legal street or a thoroughfare that they can technically enforce in. So they'd have to catch them as a nuisance and then contact us to get authorization to do like
But-
no trespass.
Based on what you were saying, you consider those as motorized vehicles. Huh?
I kind of see things with K, but.
Oh,
And we're really.
well, I was wondering the same.
I
I mean, nobody obeys that HOA requirement. I mean, people drive golf carts on the sidewalks, it's just horrible. But you have, when you're on the sidewalk, you have to have your head on the swivel because you're going to curb somebody that runs you over. And I don't know why, Brisbane Council or Lakeland doesn't. Maybe it's more trouble than it's worth, is what it feels like, and why would we step into that mess when we don't have to?
Well, may I suggest something on that? If somebody, is riding an electric vehicle, whatever, I don't care if electric vehicle, if they're pedaling, if they try to run you over, call it in, call us out there, we'll come out and we'll do what we can there. Cause we can call the HOA, and if they want to criminally trespass, then they will, they've done it in the past. We'll give them a criminal trespass warning, which means they can't come back out there. And if they do come back out there, then they're criminally trespassing and we'll arrest them. And they have given that, so, you know, if we don't get the call, we can't do anything.
Can you set up and watch some of those trails, and so that you call Melissa and say, I saw 5 kids driving by.
Well, if you'll call us and let us know, okay, look, we got this problem here this day, every day, at this time, you know, something where we could set up, you know, we would try to do something. We'd try to accommodate you, see if we can do something like that.
Yeah,
But we don't want to, you know, I can't send all my deputies on all the trails and then not worry about everything else. So, but yeah, if we have a specific issue, if you identify something, give me a call. We're happy to talk about it, and we'll come up with a solution.
I mean, just calling it in makes a big difference, because I know for on evenings, we have a lot of the juveniles that like to be on the golf course or the ATVs, and they're not following what they need to. And I've caught at least 3 of them that the parents now, when they see me, they're like, "You're the deputy that pulled over my child on the ATV." And I'm like, "Yeah, hopefully they're not on it anymore." And they're like, "Nope, they're not allowed on that thing." So just a simple call, just saying, "Hey, this is what we just, you know, happened, at this area." At least to get somebody to go out there, and we'll try to find them. I mean, I know with the trails sometimes but just making contact makes it safer.
Yeah, I agree with you. Plus, you still love in front of Elm Tree Coffee or for CBS.
Yeah.
All right? We're good?
You guys want to give a round of applause for our next speaker? Thank you guys for joining us, really appreciate it. Now on to the next portion of our meeting. For our community updates, we did complete quite a few projects throughout Lakeland this year. For example, one of our larger projects was the landscape revitalization at Central Park Fountain, where a total of 113 3-gallon agapanthus were installed. We also have quite a few dead boxwoods that were replaced. We had a total of 110 3-gallon red knockout roses installed. And we also had a total of 25 7-gallon sweet viburnum installed around the pump equipment. This overall created a nicer aesthetic and made it nicer for our residents to enjoy. We also had a rather large section of Asian jasmine planted alongside Lake Haven. We were having some issues with the trees being as big as they are now. Now they've matured and grown larger. They are a lot fuller, and this is making it exceptionally hard for grass to grow in these areas. So we've begun looking at alternatives to make sure that we have some ground cover in that area, one for aesthetics and also for erosion control. This is the first section where this is being trialed in. Asian jasmine unfortunately does take quite a bit of time to grow. However, we are hopeful that it will take and that we'll be able to potentially use this in other areas throughout Lakeland. We also had, quite a few benches repaired off of Blueberry Cedar and West Creekside in a pocket park that's there. The benches were not really in great shape. We had a couple of slats that had broken, some other slats that had cracked. But this was, luckily covered under warranty, so the association did not face any cost for this. We now have additional seating in that area, thanks to these repairs, and more possibilities for residents to enjoy the park with their children. Yes, sir.
The Asian Jasmine in conjunction with the partnership with Mud 419.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was something that Mud 419 funded. We also had a rather large project, which was the monument power washing. This was something that was done throughout Bridgeland as a whole. All of the community has now been power washed, including Lakeland. I will personally be going out on property, tomorrow to make sure that all these monuments look up to par. If any monuments do not look the way that we would like them to, or as best as we would like them to see them, I will be making note of them and reaching out to the vendor so they can come back out and spot clean them where needed and get them up to par. There should not be any additional charges for them to come back out. Tree removal. Due to Lakeland having as many trees as we do, we unfortunately had to remove quite a few trees that were either dead or dying. We have unfortunately lost a lot of trees in recent years due to weather, the derecho storm, hurricanes, and even freezes. So we had a lot of these trees that were removed, ground, and either replaced or put down and scheduled for replacement in the future. Tree replacements, there were a lot of trees that were replaced in, throughout Lakeland as a whole. For example, we had a total of 30 trees replaced alongside Bridgeland Cove. 15 of these trees were 65-gallon cedar elms, and the other 15 were red maples. These are taking rather well, and now look much better than what it used to in that area. We had quite a few tree trimming projects done throughout Lakeland as well. For example, in these pictures, you see a total of 92 trees that were trimmed alongside Shorebridge Road. Ultimately, the trees were just cut back a little bit, that way they wouldn't encroach the street as much as they were. However, they still maintain their natural shape and fullness. Throughout the state of Texas, we've recently had an issue with a disease called rose rosette. Rose rosette is a very fast-spreading, irreversible disease. Unfortunately, Lakeland and Bridgeland as a whole have also been affected by this. Because of this, we had to remove a lot of our roses and discard them. The remaining rose bushes were treated in an effort to keep them from becoming infected as well. We will be closely monitoring these roses to make sure that they don't become infected, and if we notice any additional spread, we'll make sure to remove those as well. For our additional recent projects, the Central Park fountain was recently repaired. The fountain was unfortunately down for a little bit, but that has now been fixed and we are back up and running. The rear wall, we have two separate rear walls in two different places within Lakeland Village that were recently fixed. There's a picture that I included here. That specific rear wall is outside of the reserve. It was facing some issues such as the top becoming cracked and water starting to infiltrate that area. There was also a little bit of erosion off to the side that has now been stabilized, and we are no longer facing anything similar to that. And we hope that this will hold for quite a few more years to come. We had kitty mulch chopped off throughout all of the pocket parks as needed. We had a preparation project at an open field near Water Haven. The grass here was having a difficult time growing. We aerated the field, and now the grass is a lot fuller and is doing a lot better than before. We had some crushed granite gravel replenished on the trail around Town Square Park. That's included in this picture here. The gravel is now a lot fuller and overall is in better shape for our residents to be able to enjoy with their children. For additional community updates within Lakeland Village, we did have Bridgeland Council fund quite a few projects. Recently, the Lakeland Village lap pool was replastered. The street lights in Lakeland Heights, which are actually custom, were recently repaired and are slowly being transformed into LED lights. The Lakeland Aquatic Center back pool pump has been replaced as well. New magnolias, pine seedlings, and shoe mark oaks were installed at Bridgeland Creek Parkway and Fry, directly across from the Chick-fil-A. Those are pictured here. And the dumpster fencing was redone at the LAC. The prior fencing has seen better days, so there was some proposals that were obtained in order to replace that. And the netting has recently been replaced at Treehouse Park. I believe at this time we only have one more net that needs to be replaced. So that has been completed. For our upcoming projects, the lap pool diving board will be replaced prior to next year's pool season. The slide will also be refurbished alongside some repairs prior to the next year's pool season. The slide tower will also be undergoing some restoration, including rust removal. And the Water Haven splash pad is in the process of being resurfaced. This will also be completed prior to next year's opening. Water Haven's power plume pictured here is also scheduled to be replaced and waterproofed. Currently, we have some areas that are leaking, that's shown here. Once this is completed, we will no longer be having that issue. Replacement pool furniture is also in the process of being purchased for the LAC pool. This is just to replace furniture that became damaged during the pool season. As Louis mentioned, MUD 419 did continue to fund a lot of our plant replacement, so we would really like to thank MUD 419 for their continued initiative to continue replacing a lot of our landscaping throughout the community.
Just to add to that, they're actually doing about $600,000 worth of projects right now, which is, it really helps our neighborhood and it helps you guys. That was one of the things MUD 419 talked with us about, is they had a little bit of reserve they could contribute to us, so we didn't have to go up on your fees to replace all the landscaping that's passed, that died on us. So it's helping us get for Lakeland is gonna be the place that we all moved to. Because we were getting kind of, some of the places were looking so great. And I think it's the Spencer Company is the one doing the projects, if I'm not mistaken.
Excellent job, too.
Thank you again, MUD 419, for helping us in this behalf. For those of you who have not yet gotten the Bridgeland Life app, I did go ahead and include a slide here with a QR code. We really recommend that all of you download the app. By scanning the QR code, it will take you straight to the App Store where you can download the app. I also included it on the agenda. Should you have any difficulties with the app, whether it's logging in or using the app itself, you're more than welcome to call the HOA office and one of our reps will help you. Sorry, one of our staff members.
But also, I think a couple of people mentioned they weren't getting the email.
Yeah.
So you said that you're gonna
Yeah.
get the instructions how to do that. So if you guys are not getting emails from the Bridgeland Life app to notify what's going on or like the meetings are happening, let Eunice know and she'll make sure you get the instructions.
Yes, after the meeting, if you'd like to come out to me, for those of you who are not receiving the emails, you're more than welcome to do so. You can also send me an email or give us a call to the office and we'll get you set up. That way you get all communications sent your way. For Bridgeland as a whole, we did recently have a additional park open, Sunfish Park, which includes a splash pad. This is located in Prairieland Village. It opened a little bit before the pool season ended. And we'll be reopening again next year alongside the rest of the pools and splash pads. Coming in 2026, we have 2 additional parks that are opening. We have Terrapin Park, which will be opening in the summer. This will be located in Lakeland Village. And we also have Lily Pad Park, The date for opening has not yet been determined, however, this will also be in Lakeland Village. As you all know, Bridgeland is a very active community where we have a lot of events. For 2025, we had a lot of events that were very successful. For example, the Daddy-Daughter Dance. This was held in Dragonfly Park in the Emerald Room. It was a huge turnout. We had a lot of little girl residents that had a great time with their dads. And overall, this was an awesome time for them to create memories with their dads. We had the summer family kickoff party where a lot of residents were able to come and have their kids establish relationships with other neighbors. So it was a great time for kids to commingle, get to know one another, and overall make more friends. We also had our 4th of July celebration, which was a very good turnout. As you know, we have a great fireworks display. This was held at all the aquatic centers and the festival parks. We had National Night Out, we had Harvest Festival, and many other smaller events. I should include a couple of pictures of the event. As you can see, everybody had a great time. In the following weeks, we have some additional events, most of which are Christmas related. We have Breakfast with Santa on December 6th in the Emerald Room. We'll have Holiday in the Park at Josie Lake Park on December 14th. We have Holiday Story Time on December 18th. This will be held in the Emerald Room. We also have Holiday Mythology in the Hummingbird Room. This is for adults, of course. This will be held on December 19th. And on January 10th, we have Family Bingo Night in the Emerald Room. Again, we recommend that you download the Bridgeland Life app if you don't already have it and register through the app in order to attend. Some of these events do require a fee to be paid. So it is important that you all take a look at that prior to the event. We have now reached the financial summary portion of our meeting. For 2025, we have a total of $2.5 million in budgeted income. And in 2026, we have a total of $2.6 million in total budgeted income. Between 2025 and 2026, the annual assessment for Lakeland Village will remain at $725. As a reminder, this does not include the council assessment. It also does not include the gated or service area fees. This is only for Lakeland Village, again at $725 for both 2025 and 2026. For our financial summary expenses, between 2025 and 2026, most budget line items remain the same. There is 2 changes. For 2025, we have an estimated 65% of the budget allocated for landscaping. And in 2026, we'll have 58% of the budget allocated for landscaping. There is a 3% difference between both years, as next year we plan on doing some more planting in order to get the community back to where we'd like it to be. Unfortunately, as mentioned before, we did have quite a few landscaping parts die, and we're hoping to replace as much of it as we can with the budget. For our capital reserves in 2025, we've had a total of 4% allocated towards that. And in 2026, we'll have a total of 2% allocated towards capital reserves. For our service areas for both years 2025 and 2026, the HOA dues for the service areas will remain the same, with the exception of the reserve at first bend that has gone up $25 a year per household. Otherwise, all areas are the same. For our capital reserve overview, Lakeland Village Capital Reserve Fund is currently at $760,000 as of October 31st, 2025. For the total 2025 capital reserve contribution, we're expecting about $100,000 to go into the reserve. And for savings and projects, we're currently at $276,000 as of October 31st. This fund was created in 2021 the savings and project fund is designated for special projects that the board may identify from time to time. And lastly, we have our election results for all 3 resident directors. We had a total of 3 open positions and 3 directors running. So all 3 have now been placed on the board. So we would like to extend our sincere gratitude to all the candidates for their willingness to serve and stepping forward to serve on the HOA board. It is quite a job sometimes. Your dedication to our community is sincerely valued. Louis, thank you for being willing to run again. We really appreciate you as president and all of your knowledge and time that you volunteered. Jason, for you as well. Thank you for everything that you do and always helping as much as you do. And Courtney, thank you so much for stepping forward and
Yeah,
being a part of the board.
So yes, we're going to have Courtney on the board starting for next year.
And we also like to extend a sincere thank you to Manuel Magallanes, who is unfortunately not here tonight, for also being such an active member and doing the best for our board. So thank you, Manuel, for everything. We have now reached the question and answer session of our meeting. As a reminder, questions and answers are limited to 2 minutes per person. Yes, ma'am.
The Lakeland County, when we merged with the Lakeland board, they were supposed to be a separate representative to represent the county. And I don't see that here tonight. And I also, there was supposed to be a separate ledger for our funds moving into Lakeland. And I don't see any mention of the townhomes, of what the reserves or whatever. Because, you know what, those townhomes in Lakeland are reaching 10 years or more. And we haven't seen anything from our HOA dues. Like painting the homes, they're more than 10 years old. And without the
We actually have a schedule for you, just so you know, we adopted a schedule for the Lakeland townhomes to start on a basis to get them done. Instead of trying to do them as somebody complains, we actually have the townhomes on the schedule. Units can actually, you can provide it to their attention.
I don't have the schedule handy right this moment.
Not now, but you could get it.
But yes, I can definitely get you the schedule, and I can also get you all the financial information if you'd like to see me after the
Yeah, I
meeting.
don't know how you would present that. Yeah. We're part of the Lakeland community.
So just real quick, so all of the financial information is available on the website, so you can look and see all of that.
I don't understand that, but why would you present it here tonight for the residents, for the home?
Well, because there's multiple service areas, so we do a broad
We
overview.
pay our HOA dues just like the regular homeowners do.
Right.
And
So
I
if
feel
you,
like people have forgotten.
so again, you're more than welcome. I mean, we present the financials at every board meeting, which is, every other month.
What is it for our county? It's a general presentation. You guys are supposed to make a separate ledger for all that money that we paid over the years.
There enough. You have,
This is an overview to the whole community.
Oversight for units not to put it on here. We'll take that feedback and make sure that we include your service area in the future in the presentation.
What if
That's not
I
a good problem.
That's the first I've heard that you guys are supposed to have a representative.
It wasn't,
Every service
But
area.
every service can have a representative. So if you have somebody you want to recommend to the board, we'll be glad to listen because we have other service areas that have representatives that do it. So we're not saying you can't have one. We just need somebody's name.
Okay, all right.
there's a formal process and an informal process, so they informally have several representatives that have stepped up for each of their service areas. Or we can formally vote for a committee that runs your service area. That's what we discussed when we transitioned to Lakeland Townhome. We could go either route, and no one ever stepped up, so it never did come to fruition to that point. But it is something that we can certainly do, and I don't think this board would be unwilling to entertain someone if they're willing to step up.
Well, I don't know how it is to get people to come to a meeting and to participate, so I appreciate anything you guys are doing,
Oh, we actually appreciate having somebody in the area because we don't know your area like you know your area. So there's gonna be times we didn't know what's happening. You know, like for instance, like Texascape, are they doing a great job? Is your landscaper or not? We don't know. You know, only unless somebody, the only time we find out is if somebody really goes, yeah, you're a great, nobody really does that. You know, if they're fussing about it, it's when we usually hear something's going on. So, you know, again, like Melissa said, if we've got somebody, if you want to volunteer, or you got one of your neighbors or something like that that wants to volunteer, let us know. We actually have a board meeting scheduled in January. And you would be welcome if you let us know. We can actually put you on the agenda so that we can actually vote to then finalize whoever that person is.
Yeah, I want to point out, I'm the unofficial Ellenville representative, you can go the formal route, I come to every board meeting, they are very open, they want to know what's going on. I agree with you, the hardest part is to get a volunteer. I volunteer, I got everybody's phone number, everybody's email, we go door to door, et cetera. That's how you find out what the problems are. Generally, you would be fantastic.
Yeah, so we're definitely would encourage you to do something. Okay.
Thank you for that feedback. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So I've got an ongoing situation that I'm really need some resolution from the HOA. So I live right here on Moonlit River. On April 3rd, I received an email, a violation notice in my house. And it was prefaced by the cover letter, which stated that, you know, the HOA is seeking to uphold our community standards and duty, all for that. It was a tree stake. It was the string that ties my tree to a stake that had broken in half. Fine, I fixed it. 3 doors down, there's a utility trailer that has been parked on my street now for the better part of 2 years. And I've contacted the office 6 times. They said, we'll take care of it. Give us the address. They didn't claim to not know what the address is. They found my tree stake, but they couldn't see a utility trailer. UPS trucks, FedEx trucks, garbage trucks have a hard time getting around it. And it's just sitting there. And it's specifically in the HOA guidelines that these are not allowed to be parked. It's permanent. I sent pictures.
I know exactly what you're talking about, yes. And
What's being done about it?
we cannot go into any specifics on an individual owner's account for confidentiality reasons. We'd love to, but we can't do that. So it very well could be possible that we're suing them. I mean, that could be a possibility. It's something that we're gonna need to go back and I will look into it with units to see where we are on that. And then your board ultimately makes decisions at the end of the day on how they pursue matters pertaining to compliance, and they're not.
The HOA should communicate at least that much. I've waited since April, and I've gotten, the last email I sent was on November 18th. I didn't get a response. Other times I've gone 5 weeks without any response. And you know, what's the motivation? I have neighbors around that have gotten liens threatened on their property because the top of their fence needed to be replaced, or because they had a pinwheel in their yard. And it's the inconsistency of the HOA that's just giving it a bad name. I love it here, but that is just it's really ridiculous. The HOA would at least communicate back and say, look, we can't give you specifics. I get that. We're on it. We're taking care of it. We understand that this is an inconsistency. This is not up to our standards. I'm not the only resident that's complained. I have a neighbor that's in very ill health. She has talked to them. She has talked to y'all. She has no satisfaction at all with anything being done about it. If y'all would just communicate and say, hey, look, I've sent 6 emails. It's not like you don't know how to find me. You know my address. You found my tree stake.
That's
Communicate back and say, look.
So can you get with me and give me your information?
Absolutely.
And Heidi and I will address it.
I hate the trailer. I think everybody in the street on it. I think Bridgeland ought to hate it. And I realize that I'm not privy to everything. But just the fact that y'all don't say anything, it makes, well, like you don't care. You care about my tree stake or the pinwheel, but you don't care about a utility trailer that's actually kind of blocking the street. This came up, and I'll shut up here. A couple years ago, this came up, and we got sent back and forth between the HOA and the constable's office because no one could decide whose responsibility it was. My wife talked to the constable's office. Constable's office said, no, it's the HOA. HOA said, and this has been going on for like 2 years.
I was just about to say that there are other circumstances depending on where the trailer's parked, whether or not we know who it belongs to, and if it's us or the county. But we can jump in and help with enforcement of that for sure. So can I get your information before you leave?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And just to kind of give you an idea about things, we only hear about it when this gets escalated. they may can do a better job, at least saying, hey, we're on it, we're looking at it, or something like that. You know, I don't know what all of this said, but like she said, they can't divulge a lot of stuff, and this is where it becomes, you know, problematic, is that we wanna know everything, but we can't tell everything because of confidentiality.
Yeah, I don't feel like I should know, I need to know the details, but at least have confidence that the HOA is doing what they can. I realize you can't just go all the thing on, I understand that.
And just so you know, you're not alone, I got a letter for a tree stake too.
Do you have a trailer 3 doors
I don't
down?
have a trailer, but I got a tree stake. So I'm not gonna let it go.
I fixed my tree stake, by the way.
Me too.
Thank you.
Me too.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I just wanted to make a suggestion about on the landscaping stuff. I live right I see point now. And the other day, my husband and I were literally taking a walk and admiring how beautiful the flowers were. Looked down the street and they were pulling them all up and replacing them.
Yeah.
If
I saw that happen.
if we could do one extra week or month or something, so we can actually enjoy our flowers before they get ripped out.
I like really trying to have the partner, I plant, and you have to be very careful when you plant in terms of will it grow, it's too hot, it's too cold. I have started following this lady when she plants something because she knows it takes 2, 3, 4 weeks for it to grow, and it's all seasonal, so you want everything.
If you did, it's maybe 2 weeks.
It's all dependent on the season, the time. It's like calendar, should have been in about 2 weeks ago, you got them in. Now, if you want to wait 2 weeks and let the rest of the thing kind of die down, and then the calendar don't look good. I mean, I'm just telling you as a gardener, 3 times president of the Richmond Garden Club, 2 times president of another garden club, that I have your same empathy. In fact, I've gone out there and fixed them up. And then when I replant them, you know what? It lasts about 2 more weeks, and that's it. So that's just my feedback. They're not gardeners. Okay.
I'm sure you will.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
I'd like to add to something, what she said, and that is that, these plants that we put in are pre-booked, several months in advance. So when the plants are ready on the table, those are the ones that are really critical that we have to put them in before they get too overgrown. The other thing is, we never want your flowers to look bad, so we don't have a color program that goes to the point where, okay, now they look bad, let's take them out, they'll be empty for a while. So we transition from hopefully a good looking planting to another good looking planting. And it does it, again, weathers. It's not very cooperative either in October. We had extremely warm weather. They did great, but they also encouraged the growth in the greenhouse and they wanted them off their tables. One last thing is we had holiday decorating. So as much as I love the fall color, it looks terrible with the garland and the holiday ornaments. So unfortunately, we had to take out some really beautiful plants, but that's one of the things that we are proud of, is that they look so good. And we hope that the next planting will be just as good.
But I do understand what you're saying, because we had those nice pretty flowers up front, and all of a sudden they were gone, and I'm like, whoa, you know, I just, you know, I'm like, I thought, well, maybe you guys were, you know, maybe some forest orchid flowers.
No, but it's something that we can sit down and we can try to find the best
If you tell me when you want them, we'll pre-book them for that week.
yeah, the weather's composed, you never know.
Good suggestion, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I have one more question. Who's the building one that things are water company?
That would be the money, that would be the money.
The mud, automatically changes itself.
You would have to talk to the Bud board, because they're the
They
ones that
meet
make that
regularly
decision.
as well. They have a board just like this board, so.
Yeah, the Mud board makes those decisions for that month. And they made the decision to go from, one company to the other, and you would need to discuss it. We happen to have a Mud board member in the audience if he wants to identify
I
himself.
wasn't gonna tell you. I wasn't gonna tell you. But you're
I didn't call Sam out.
Why did you choose?
You'd have to ask him about that.
And I'm sure he'll chat with you afterwards. We'll connect you. Any other questions? Do y'all have anything else?
Does anybody have any other questions or comments or yes?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a projected timeline, a status, a number of steps? What else is there to be done about extending Lakeland on to 290?
That's gonna be good luck with that.
So Bridgeland, so I'll give you the nutshell version. Bridgeland doesn't have land north of 290, north of Nathan, right, of the creek. So the current developer likely is not gonna be involved in extending over past the creek going north. That would be something that Dunham Point and or the county would likely have to do at some point. So unfortunately, we don't have any.
But is there any activity? Is there anything that we
Not,
can do?
none that we're aware of.
Talk to your local commissioner and see, you could convince them to do eminent domain. And, because it's been going on for 15 or 17 years. And that's just the problem. That's the only thing I can know is commissioners to go in and maybe take the land. Will he, if he has the money to do that, if he has the money to do it, I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Yes.
The gravel path along the creek, is that something that's maintained by the Bridgeland board, or is that enhancement? The gravel needs to be updated.
On which one?
Eroded.
Cypress Creek Trail?
Yeah, over there by Oak Meadow.
Yeah. That's pretty council.
Okay. But they can pass that on. Well, you're, let's see back here. Yes.
We're talking about tree strikes and violations and whatnot. What's the current policy position with regard to street trees and replacement?
Technically, street trees are required in accordance with the current guidelines that are in place for Lakeland. Technically, you guys are welcome to add to that if you'd like to add anything different to that, but
You
they are
can.
technically required.
Appeal
Well, yeah, appeal it to us, and we'll discuss it. Okay, but we can't discuss it here.
You can't leave a dead tree.
Yeah,
You have to remove the dead tree. But I don't think we're gonna go after you, you don't respond. But the next board, I don't know if Courtney's gonna change.
But if you do that, you might make sure your
Mistake is right.
So you look at her, and she's like, we're calling you out, right?
That's the most common issue we deal with.
Yeah.
It happens all the time, and I think from a political trends, you can look at the other newer villages and see that there are no street trees in a lot of the newer sections. And I think that is,
Probably one.
and I drove the sentiment as I found it, and,
Because by the time, I mean, you got a piece of dirt that big and you got a tree that's probably bigger than that, there's a problem. Sure. But we understand that, but you gotta go through the process. Otherwise, they're gonna finish later. Okay, what else? Anybody else? Yes.
Real quick, any plan to like make our traffic lights smarter than they currently are? It's quite frequent that you will sit at a red light, like Mason and Tuckerton, for example, and with no traffic, nothing, and you just sit.
The only thing I would tell you with that one is that's gonna be a county issue.
Okay.
Because once everything is turned over, that becomes the county with, the commissioner's office has been brought up several times. That's where you gotta go through. Now, sometimes you can have luck if you can talk one of the, won't mention Sam thing, but the mud sometimes knows the county people better than the rest of us. And he may help you with that.
I'm not calling you out there.
Not gonna call you out there. Right, who else? Anybody else? Hey, guys, we want to tell you, we appreciate you, coming to the meeting, speaking up. If you have any questions or concerns, you see it, we're all here. Courtney, I think will even talk to you when you come to the meeting. So we'd be glad to talk to you about that. We're very open because as we tell everybody, we're on the board, but we're also residents. We pay the same things you guys do. We want the place to look nice just like you do. So please don't be shy about talking. Yes, ma'am.
I want to thank you for the job that you're doing. Everything seems to be running really smoothly. And the flowers and the trees. All around.
You and the flowers are looking okay. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
I'd like to do the same thing, because this is a commercial television, hard working, what I've been seeing. They really idiot down and do their own research, which is what is required. You cannot come every 2 months and sit there and just go, oh, yes, no. The other thing, is, for me personally, is just an amazing. She's smart, she's sharp, she's detail oriented, and it took her a real pleasure. So I just wanted to give you that feedback when you get some out of your.
And she survived the meeting today too.
Yeah.
Great job, you guys. Give her a round of applause. More around the clock.
Stuff like those things to the ground that you get letters on. He's not really doing that. Somebody else did. And the lower level staff, and haven't really, they're young, they're not that little trained, they're working on it. But if you have that problem, take it to her to get on. That's the end of my speech. Thank you.
And just so you guys know, we've got, each of us have things that we do concentrate on. You know, Bill Paul is a genius when it comes to reading stuff and, it's electronic and he really keeps his own budget. He really does. JT's a lawyer, yay.
I'm not the expert on reading.
I read a lot of manuals. JT can read. JT can read as well. I guess I should bring that up. But, Thomas, he has his own strengths just as I do. We all have different things we do look at. So I want you to know it is. And we don't, the pay is loud.
Oh, it's great.
I mean, we get paid by how many times we get questioned. I guess that's what it is. Anyway, we appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much, everybody. Ready, Aaron, at 7:14?
Yeah, 7:14.
Everyone's going to put the chair up.
Everybody in there.